Okay, now we're all set. So we've got our 6x9 canvas drop cloth. It's a pretty big drop cloth. But this is excellent material to paint on. You know, I had a former student who went in Florida, and he ended up using all kinds of materials that he got out of the trash, you know, parts for couches, all kinds of stuff. And you can make canvases out of just about anything, any sort of cloth that you want. I mean, it's all part of the fun of doing art. So there's a lot of artists that even use paper, there's artists that use cardboard, there's artists that paint on all kinds of surfaces. So it's really up to you what your preference is, but just showing you what it's like to paint on canvas. Alright, so I'm just going to get my canvas rolled out. Okay. It does not need to be ironed or anything like that, nothing that you have to worry about there. So it's a nice thick drop cloth. And so you take your canvas and you're going to put it right over the top. And then you're just going to, you want to utilize as much of the canvas as possible, so I put it right towards the edges. Then I take the canvas and I wrap it over and I say, can I get over the end here? At a minimum, to come over to this point so that it rolls right over. All right, and then this way I've got the same thing. So what I'm going to do, because I want to make sure I have that all the way around, I'm going to measure. So that looks like that's about 4 inches. 4 inches of canvas on the side. So let's see, so if I go with 4 inches here, and I'm just going to make a basic line. I'm not going to draw everything out because alright, and then it's off to here. Okay, so it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't, just good enough for government work. Alright, so now I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to cut along that line. You can use a ruler if you want to get this line straight. Depends on how important it is to you. To me, it's not that important. I'm just going to try to do as best as I can here, and we can always cut later as needed. Okay. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to cut about 4 inches. I'm just going to eyeball it here. Okay, so that's cut. So now we have that. We're going to move this in the table a little bit. Okay, then we're going to take the canvas that we have left over. So as you can see, we still have quite a bit of canvas left over, even after doing this big painting. Alright, okay, so the way it's going to work, so a lot of artists, what they do is they just staple it right to the side. They just staple it right here. But I don't like to do that. The reason being is I like to paint the edges of my canvas. If you have a frame on it or something, that's fine. But in many cases, you're not going to have a frame on your canvas. You're just going to have it open. You're going to paint the sides black. Continue your painting around the sides, whatever. It just depends on who you are and what you're interested in. All right, so I'm going to take my staple gun and load it up. So I already have staples in it. Again, this is the lightweight staple gun, the JT21 staples. And now I'm going to stretch it. So if anybody's played drums, it's the same idea. You're just stretching it against each other. So the first thing that I do is I stretch here, and I'm going to staple it in the center on that side. Then I'm going to go to the other side, pull it nice and tight, staple it. Okay, and then I'm going to go to this side. Staple it. And then this side, staple it. Okay, so now we want to go opposing side. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to pull this side tight as I can. Doesn't have to be perfect, because we're not, and you'll see why in a minute, why it doesn't need to be quite perfect. All right, I'm just putting them an inch and a half apart from each other. Okay. Then I'm going to move to this part down here. I'll start stretching this. So we're going to continue to take these sides. Okay, and then I'm going to work down here, and I'm going to stretch this side here. As you can see, it's starting to stretch everywhere. So I'm just going opposing sides. So I'm going diagonally, then I'll come back and do the other ones. Okay, and this staple gun works so much better than the big heavy duty. If you have an electric one, that's really easy also. Okay, so I did this side down here, so now I'm going to do this one up here, because we're going in diagonal. We're going to come out that way. Okay. Okay, now we can pretty much just pull things tight and staple it as we wish. So now I'm going to pull this, we're going to pull it down, sort of down at an angle. They do have canvas pliers, ones that you can use to hold the canvas. I just use my fingers because I think it's just as easy. Okay, so this is nice and stretched. Let's get to this part here. Again, we want to go to the diagonal, so we're going the diagonal towards there. Okay, we're going to stretch this. And you don't need to go crazy with stretching it, because you'll see with the gesso that does a lot of the work for us. Okay. All right, now I'm going to finish stapling down here. Pull this nice and tight. Excellent. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold over my corners. So everybody has a different way of doing that. For me, I just take it like this left over, I fold it over, and then pull it back, and then staple it. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to do this corner here. Okay. And then this last corner here. Okay. So now we are all set. Let's see what we stretched. So now you have made your first canvas. So this is just the raw canvas. So the canvases you're used to seeing in a store that you want to paint on are different than that. So we're going to end this video here, and then we'll get to painting it.